The script that Lee wrote for this movie is so much about sound and vision.
When you're shooting a movie, you want to know that you're trying for something unique. So I started thinking about seeing the Wolfman changing from the Wolfman's perspective.
We've really latched onto that with both hands and tried to show you what the world is like from Blake's perspective. And one thing that was born from that was the idea of this wolf vision.
The way Lee would describe the soundscape, I think it'll feel as close to what we as humans can imagine an animal sees and hears.
It's all completely night visioned out. The trees are talking, every bug. It'll be like crazy sound design. I did a lot of research about the range that animals hear in, specifically dogs and wolves. It was endlessly fascinating.
His senses become incredibly heightened. He can hear everything.
And I loved the idea of two characters in two separate worlds, one in the human world and one in the animal world. And the idea that they could not communicate anymore.
What is happening? I can't understand you.
The visual shows the separation and how deep it is and how they're fighting to stay communicating.
Juliet or I would be talking normally, and then the words would sort of become gargled and shifted and sound weird, and you wouldn't be able to understand it anymore.
I see kind of the reality and the dimness and the darkness, but then through his perspective, it's kind of this blue light on Matilda and I.
I wanted all this perspective changing to happen in camera. So we would actually manually change the lights and change the color tone of everything.
The way Lee wanted to shoot it was these 360-degree rotating Steadicam shots, which is technically quite hard to pull off, just from a shooting point of view.
The camera could float around the room and switch into a different perspective.
I need two cues. I need talk cue here. Look, I love filming those scenes. You get yourself in this mindset, and then you can get into a flow state, and it doesn't allow interruptions to come in. Everybody has to be just going with it.
Hello? Hello?
When we're in the perspective of the wolves, the way we see the world and hear the world, a lot of that was going to be in the sound mix and also in VFX, creating something that is unique that we haven't seen before. A lot of the things that we did with the wolf vision, we would have been unable to do practically on the set. And when you start getting into the VFX, you can have that sort of symmetry. If it's done right, it can be this beautiful marriage.
I thought that special effect when everything gets really focused was so crazy cool, and I really loved it.
Just this really cool concept, and it got me thinking. And I got what's called an ambisonic microphone, which is a 360-degree sphere of sound. And then I put that onto a turntable, and we put this rotating mic, and the idea is they stand still and do their dialogue while this mic is rotating. When you play that back in a cinema, the audio from that scene is rotating around your head. It just adds to the craziness.
Sound design, it's a very essential part of the filmmaking process. When we were shooting the film, I knew that the on-set sound people had to be prioritized and not shoved into the background like some nuisance. I wanted them experimenting with stuff and having creative conversations.
We've buried a speaker deep in the bush over there. Just puts the actors in a space. They can react to it. It's a bit better than someone going, "Ah!"
It gives a very present feeling to the whole thing, and it's great.
Scary.
There's all these little experiments you can do that are really fun.
We really wanted to push and explore great sound design and great sound recording. And it became more vibrant over time.
With the greenhouse scene, I wanted everything to be very extreme. Take the sound of a staple coming out of the plastic and crank up the volume. I didn't want to drown it with music. There are some times when you need to let the sound design be at the forefront.
Sound design in this genre is important because it's all suspense. So you're really on the edge of your seat.
The sound makes it visceral and terrifying.
What I love about filmmaking is it includes so many other art forms. Music and sound and photography, it's all very important.
That collaboration is really important when making something new and fresh.
In a perfect world, when you make a movie, you put all these creative people in a room, you want one person to inspire another person. The cinematographer gets inspired by the sets, and then the sound people get inspired by the cinematographer, and then it just keeps happening. Each department contributes a vital piece of this jigsaw puzzle, and you cannot see the whole jigsaw puzzle until every piece is in. Suddenly you're like, oh, there it is.